All right, let's talk about prepping for the OSCP, the Offensive Security Certified Professional exam. We all know it's a beast. You're trying to juggle a job, a budget, and an exam that can feel, well, pretty overwhelming. So let's cut through all that chaos and build a real, focused plan. I'm going to share a roadmap that was built from some pretty hard-won experience, and it all starts with a feeling I bet a lot of you know very well.
Man, this just hits home, doesn't it? You've been staring at a black screen for hours, you have absolutely zero shells, and you're starting to think, what am I even doing?
If you've ever felt that feeling of just hitting a brick wall, then yeah, this is for you. Let's actually talk about this for a second. The OSCP rage quit. It's almost a rite of passage, you know? It comes from that feeling of total burnout and frustration.
Look, we get it. The pressure is absolutely real. So the goal here is not to just dump more information on you. It's to build a clear, actionable plan that cuts right through all that noise. So here's the most important part. We have to shift how we think. We need to stop just collecting knowledge and start actively building real exam muscle.
And this is the core difference, right? On one side, you have hoarding PDFs and cheat sheets. It feels productive, but it's totally passive. On the other side, you're building muscle. This means developing repeatable habits and a disciplined methodology through active practice, so that when you're exhausted in the exam, your hands just know what to do.
Now, these 10 machines, they were not picked out of a hat. They were chosen based on 3 really important questions. First, does it teach a core OSCP pattern? Second, is it worth doing over and over again to build speed? And third, does it give you clean, solid evidence for your final report? See, this isn't about just collecting flags. It's about sharpening actual exam habits.
And that brings us to the heart of the plan, your 10-machine gauntlet. I want you to think of this as a structured training program, not just some random list of boxes to go and pop.
We start with the absolute foundations. The Kioptrix series is non-negotiable. Level 1 forces you to stop just running Nmap and hoping for the best, and instead be deliberate. Then 1.1 just hammers home the lesson. If you miss one detail in enumeration, you will suffer for hours. Then 1.2 and 1.3 teach you how to chain attacks together and, so importantly, how to pivot when your first plan just goes nowhere.
So what's the big takeaway from this first stage? It's simple, but it is so critical. The first 30 minutes you spend on methodical recon will decide how your next 3 hours go. Rushing the start is probably the fastest way to get completely stuck later on.
Okay, so you've built your recon foundation. Stage 2 is all about the wake-up calls. Sicko's 1.1 is that reality check. It proves that those simple web services are exactly where careful attackers find easy wins. Then you've got Fristy Leaks, which helps you turn Linux privilege escalation from a frustrating guessing game into a systematic, repeatable process.
This quote just nails it. That buffer overflow part of the exam, it's a huge source of anxiety for so many people. But with some focused practice, you can actually turn it into a source of confidence.
Which leads us right into stage 3, Brainpan. This is your lab. It's where you build a buffer overflow template, where you overwrite a program's memory to run your own code, and you practice it until the whole process feels automatic, maybe even a little boring. That's the goal. Then there's Stapler, which throws a ton of information at you and teaches you how to manage all those clues without getting lost.
And finally, stage 4 is all about getting into that professional mindset. DC1 is basically your dress rehearsal for writing a clean, professional report. And Mr. Robot is a masterclass in how to not waste time going down rabbit holes. It teaches you to tell the difference between what's just flavor and what's actually functional.
Okay, so that's the what. Now let's talk about the how. How in the world do you fit all of this into an already busy schedule? Let's break down a concrete 4-week lab plan.
Here it is. You can see exactly how the weeks build on each other. We start with those foundational recon skills, then we move into chaining attacks and privilege escalation, then those specialized skills, and we wrap it all up with mindset and a full mock exam to tie it all together.
The absolute key here is finding a rhythm that you can actually stick with. This is not about pulling all-nighters. Think about it in 90-minute chunks on weekdays. 60 minutes of hands-on hacking, 30 minutes of taking good notes. Then, find one solid 4 to 5 hour block on a weekend to do a deeper dive or a mock exam. It's totally manageable, and it really works. This whole plan, every step, it all leads to one thing: being ready for that final stress test, the exam itself.
And this, right here, this is the payoff.
This quote comes from a late-night mock exam, blurry-eyed at 4 a.m., and it's that moment when you realize all that practice worked. The muscle memory has completely taken over.
And that's really the ultimate point of all this. The OSCP exam tests your discipline and your ability to triage just as much as it tests your technical skills. This whole plan is designed to build that resilience, so you can perform your best when that clock is ticking and the pressure is on.
So the roadmap is right here. The path is clear. All that chaotic energy you had now has a focus. So the only question left is, what's your first step?